What's up, friends? August 11th, 2022. We are fired up. The magician, the professor, myself, because finally we get to be a part of the Pirates Cove Billfish Tournament 2022. We're in it to win it, right, Professor?
That's right. That's right. I can't wait.
Yeah, and in order to pull this all off, we had to spend a lot of money and get some rods because we're gonna go bill fishing, marlin fishing. In this video, you're gonna learn everything we had to do, how much we spent, what we got, how to rig it up, and that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Professor, first thing we did, new reel, new rod combo. Break it down for us. Let's start with the reel.
All right, so this is a Shimano Talica 25 2-speed, and it's one of the top of the line Billfish reels. Got a lot of line capacity. We've got 30 on there with braid backing, and Doug made us the rods there. Tell us a little bit about the rods, Doug.
Oh, it's a 6.5 foot medium action rod, aluminum butt. The rods have a little backbone here for lifting when you get down and dirty with a fish, but they have a nice soft tip to give you some shock absorption when the fish goes jumping.
Yeah, and the whole thing is really light. I mean, when we put the reels on there today, when I picked it up, it was just, you know, it's crazy, and I just can't wait to feed one,
So
you know, at the back of the boat.
Why does that weight matter when we're talking about billfish?
Well, billfish specifically is specifically white marlin.
Yep.
It's a feel game. It's a finesse game, because, you know,
this ain't like tuna and big shoulders.
Right. You know, a lot of times these fish are kind of finicky when they bite. They'll come up and hit the teaser or the dredge, and you've got to, you know, pitch a bait back to them or get a bait in their face. And it's all about feel. You know, you got to feel it, feed it to them, and realize when it's time to come tight on them.
And what's the difference between this reel versus the reels that we've been using? Because we got all these 50s, but yet you were insistent we needed to get these reels.
Yeah, well, to put it in perspective for you, it's like trying to speckle trout fish with this.
Okay.
You know, it's a finesse game. You need to be able to feel, and this has a whole lot lighter drag.
Too big for speckled trout. The 50s aren't as ideal for a marlin because of the finesse component.
That's right. That's right. You need to be able to feel it, and this whole marlin game is a back up and touch the leader. You know what I mean? It's all competitive fishing. It's hurry up, touch the leader. It's not about fighting the fish, you know, with the rod. So this reel gives you the capability to put it in high speed, and when the captain is backing down on the boat, you can crank, 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 and you can really feel that tip to make sure it's bent and you're keeping pressure on the fish.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So that's what it's, where as opposed to one of the stiffer rods that we use for tuna, you know, these, you're finessing that fish and the captain is backing down the boat, and you can't necessarily feel everything you need to feel that's going on with the fish while all that's going on.
Yeah, so Magician Doug, let's talk about how to, like if we're gonna rig it up properly for a marlin, we've got one started here. What do we need to do? And oh, by the way, tell us again, what is the line that we're using for this? Break that down real quick, the line, leader, etc.
Well, the leader is actually built out of several components.
Okay.
We have we go from our, I'm gonna back this off here and pull this out. We go from our main line, which Ron talked about, was 30-pound test. Okay, and then what we do from there.
So why did we choose orange?
You want the high vis line. If you have multiple fish jumping back there, the captain up there in the tower can see where every line is going. Helps you gauge which fish you need to chase first.
Got it.
Make sure you're not crossed up. If you are crossed up, you can decide what you need to do to get them straightened out so you don't burn a fish off.
Right, and that's 30, you said?
This is 30-pound test.
Okay, and then we have the connector between.
Yep, well, let's start up here.
All right.
So on our main line, we start with the Bimini Twist, which is a knot that allows you to have a double line. Okay, and then this is a wind-on leader. We have a loop-to-loop connection in here. So this is Dacron line, and it's fed back through itself to give you a loop, and then it is looped through your double line, your Bimini Twist, 3 times. Okay. This wind-on leader is 80 pound. and it's 24 feet long.
So 80-pound leader, 24 feet long.
24 feet long.
And this is relevant because there's rules to leaders.
Exactly.
When it comes to
the
bill
rule
fishing,
on
right?
leader length is 30 feet. You're allowed 30 feet. So
Right.
we build this 24 feet, then we tie on a swivel, and then we have a 6-foot sacrificial leader that is snelled to our hook.
All right, and the hook that we're using here is a?
It's a 7/0 inline circle hook. Inline meaning that it's not offset at all.
Yeah.
It's tournament legal, because we don't want to hurt these fish. We want to
That's
hook
right.
them in the corner
And
of the
to your
mouth.
point, that's why you said, Professor, to me earlier, you don't set it like you normally would on a fish. You just
Come
tighten
tight.
it,
Yeah.
and it sets itself essentially.
That's right.
Because of the circle component.
Yeah, it'll come pull right through. However deep he has, when he makes his turn, that hook will come right in the corner of his mouth.
Okay, so once we got to the hook, now we got to do what with our ballyhoo?
We've got a ballyhoo.
Got him ready.
Went ahead and rigged one up. We use copper wire, and this is called a ringer swivel. It's a very small barrel swivel with an O-ring that is made into it. Okay. So we run the copper wire through the ballyhoo's nose, put a 10 weight on. It goes behind his gills and through his eyes and wraps back down. And then this circle hook is going to go through that O-ring, and that's going to keep it on there. And there's your rig right there.
And that's it.
And we'll have a lot of those ballyhoo rigged up.
Pre-rigged.
Yeah, pre-rigged.
They're ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
You see here, there's about 150 of these ringer swivels ready to go.
Okay, all right.
You can purchase these already rigged, but we did it the other way.
You did it differently.
I was bored.
Because that's how you roll there, magician. All right, and so we got some more equipment for this experience. Professor, you want to talk about that, or you, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, this is a black Bart. What is the proper term for this?
Yeah, I call them plugs.
Yeah, chuggers, plugs.
Chuggers, plugs. It's a big lure that is used for big marlin fishing.
Yeah.
With a lure to be tournament legal, you can fish a J hook, which is what this is.
Yeah.
But for bait, which is ballyhoo, squid, anything like that, any type of bait, you have to use a circle.
So lure versus bait, there are different rules.
Yeah.
And this will be positioned where in terms of the spread?
Well, this will be on the flat line. Short.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's close to the boat. And just real quick, I want to talk about cost real quick too. Something like this costs us what, Professor? It's not cheap.
I mean, I had this in my stash that I bought. I didn't buy this brand new, but I'd say about 80 bucks.
Exactly.
Yeah, 80 bucks. And this is also has to be IGFA rigged. And that meaning that the hook, the tip of that J hook cannot be below the tentacles on the squid.
Interesting.
So that has to be IGFA legal according to the rules.
Wow.
So there's certain things that you really have to pay attention to, you know, when you're doing all this stuff. And of course that has a wire that's wired up to the hook right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, for that bill really rubbing,
You're right.
you know.
So we're going to do how many of those at once? Just one or two?
We're probably only gonna pull one of these.
One of these.
Yeah, but that is not gonna go on that rod.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cost for this one was what?
That is $699.99.
Okay, so we spent about $700 per reel on
Yeah.
this.
And then we probably spent, the line on it was probably like another 50 bucks a reel.
And then the rod setup is a custom setup. And I know you've talked about this in other videos, Doug, but we're probably looking at how much money?
So they're between $300 and $350 for that rod.
Yeah, $300 and $350, and does that include the butt?
Oh yeah.
Okay, $300 and $350 for that. That's why I want to use this man Ford, because he does an amazing job. Now, there's also this daggone squid Christmas tree we got here, Professor.
Yep.
So what is the deal with this? Because this was a pretty penny as well.
That's a marlin dredge, and we'll pull that off of the side of the boat, but it'll be below the surface of water to attract the fish, opposed to the teasers that are on the top of the water. We'll run them both, but this mimics a school of squid or a school of fish swimming together beside the boat. And a lot of times a marlin will come right up and they'll start whacking at one of them.
Which is why we have to be paying attention differently when we fish a tournament like this, correct?
Correct. You have to be watching your spread nonstop.
Non-stop.
Nonstop.
Because it ain't like I can take a nap and just hope that to catch the same amount of fish.
I mean, we could get lucky and a fish just come, smack one of our baits and hook itself, but this type of fishing, you really have to pay attention, and if you can see a fish doing, you know, coming up on this teaser, this dredge, and they might not come after a bait, but if you're watching and he comes up on that dredge and you drop that pitch bait back to him, or you bust one out of that rigger clip and feed it to him, I mean, you got a good chance of hooking him.
Wow, that's exciting.
So how these fish feed is they'll come, you know, normally they come with their bill and they whack at their prey and they stun it, and then they come back and eat it.
Which is why we gotta, at that point, take this and essentially this will act as the damaged good behind this dredge.
They come whack at this, you got to be right there to drop that back to them.
So we're going to drop it, essentially free spool it just quickly on back to it.
Yeah, you kind of got to feel, once you feel something, you know, you feel anything, which more important, the tip of that rod being flexible.
Yes.
You can feel when he just grabs it.
Yep.
And then you free spool it and point the rod right at him.
Yes.
And then when you think you have him hooked,
just
forward, and just come tight.
Come tight.
No jerk.
And then fun.
And then the fun starts.
The fun starts, and we are excited for the fun, certainly. Anything else, Professor, Magician, we need to discuss when it comes to marlin fishing like this, tournament fishing?
This blue marlin we're going to pull off of a different rod.
Okay.
And Doug also made this one here. This is an 80 class. Well, this is actually 70, but it was pretty much the same thing.
Right.
And you know, the blue marlin get a lot bigger, so we need a lot more beef, you know, and heavier line capacity.
The big money is probably going to be on this big boy right here.
It all depends, big fish money, And so Doug, tell us a little bit about this rod that you made.
Well, this is along the lines of more like the tuna rods that we build. It's a little bit longer rod. It's built for fishing out of a chair, heavier butt, bigger reel. All roller guides. I built it just for the sole purpose of pulling the plug. Yeah. Because typically on a big plug like that, you're going to get a bigger fish.
A bigger fish.
So
big plug, big fish.
We're going to be in the chair, in the bucket harness, and fighting this fish for possibly a long time.
You know,
this rod goes down, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, and we've had, you know, 400-pound, 450-pound blue marlin on this boat before, but just imagine something double that size.
Wow. That's going to be
a 700 or 800 pounder.
I'm excited thinking about it.
You need some meat for that fish.
Yeah. Meat is good. We want lots of it. And of course, we're going to show you the entire experience. We don't know how well we're going to do, but we dang sure are going to give it our best. We're going to have a good time. And just like I'm going to be doing, you're going to be learning with me. You're going to be learning with us. That's the purpose of this channel. We hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you continue to follow us on this journey. Again, we're going to show you the whole tournament experience because we want you out here having these tournaments with us in the future. So fingers crossed, it's going to be a great week.
I'm excited.
Excited. And until the next time, my friends, stay salty.